Call Gareth Hughes.
Kia ora, Mr Speaker. Kia ora, everybody. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou, kia ora. This is my first day back at Parliament after 3 weeks on parental leave. Great to be here on a Saturday. 3 weeks ago... 3 weeks ago, my wife gave birth to a healthy little baby, Zoe Elizabeth Hughes. And I guess what I want to wonder is the records we're producing now in Parliament and around in our communities, what's the impact of this bill going to be on those archives in the future? What's her access going to be when she's 18, when she's 30? And that's the key questions we're asking today with the State Sector Bill. It was a privilege to join the other members on the Select Committee hearing the submissions. And what I heard was one clear message from all the submitters. There was a clear message when it came to the merging, or the takeover, as it was described, of the National Library and the National Archives. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad for our archives. It's going to be bad for Kiwis accessing those services. I was fortunate enough to have a tour of the National Archives with some of the staff. Boy, what a fantastic institution that is. I got to see maps of New Zealand with potential nuclear strikes from the 1950s. I got to see handwritten deeds of sale signed with moko. Truly national taonga, deserving of our utmost respect and the utmost care. And that's the risk with this bill that we're debating today under urgency on a Saturday. A lack of care, a lack of care, a lack of due diligence and prudence and reasons why we're even addressing these issues today. I want to briefly touch on some of the impacts of this bill, because there will be some. Touch on some of the reasons why this bill's been introduced, or slogans as I put it, and the reasons why I'm opposed. To begin with, the submitters on the committee presented a great deal of risks and reasons why we shouldn't proceed with this bill. We heard that the Department of Internal Affairs, the National Library and National Archives, they just do different roles. One's a library, one's responsible for archiving. We heard that their independence is at risk. What we're doing is putting the Chief Archivist, the National Librarian, within a bureaucracy down several tiers, 3 or 4 tiers, which is going to reduce their impact, it's going to reduce their access to ministers, it's going to reduce their ability to have mana, to proactively argue, to actually hold Chief Executive of government's departments to account and actually tell them when they're doing a bad job when it comes to archiving. We heard it's going to impact their budget. Now, one good thing which I'll give the government is that separate votes will continue, but we're going to see the budget pressures placed, and the risk is that the Department of Internal Affairs one financial year says, hey, we'll just have a few less books this year. We've also heard from submitters this is impacting on the morale of the staff. Now, these guys do fantastic work day in, day out for the country's sake, to protect these taongas, and these 15 staff at risk, it is damaging the morale. We also heard on the Select Committee why we're doing this. And the reasons, well, I heard, and in the Cabinet papers which I've read, is simply amounts to slogans. We've heard slogans future-proofing. We've heard slogans of financial savings. We've heard slogans of efficiencies and digitisation. Now, simply these are slogans without arguments or solid facts to back them up. And throughout the Select Committee process, there were no facts and figures, no robust arguments presented. And in that case, these simply remain slogans. When it comes to the finance, we're talking about maybe $165,000 a year. It seems crazy that we're doing this for literally $165,000 a year. It's as if the government, looking for inspiration for their legislative program for the year, went back and looked at the Shipley-Bolger playbook from the 1990s. When it comes to workers' relations, they've gone back to the Shipley-Bolger playbook. And when it comes to these wonderful government departments, they've gone back to the Shipley-Bolger playbook. And what we've done is we've returned to the 1990s. And in the Select Committee, we once again heard that there are compelling reasons why these departments were separated by the Labour government. So in summary, there's a considerable number of reasons why we're opposed. We've simply only heard slogans as arguments for, and what this bill essentially amounts to is an ideological solution in search of a problem. Kia ora.
I call Sir